Hi, and welcome back to Halton Tech Today. Where we are right now is at Sheridan College, and we're going to be moving our concept a little bit from game-based training to game-based learning. Mark and Peter are here with me from NexEd, and they've kind of taken the whole aspect to a new level. So thanks guys very much for being here. What I want to do is maybe go through a little bit of the major differences that you've done, maybe to compare to other things that are in the teaching industry right now. There's a lot of aspects of your game that are absolutely fascinating, and what I really like is the whole, game look. It looks like an Xbox game, to be quite frank with you. It's really cool. So maybe you could just walk us through some of those things.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Let me get onto
Perfect.
the side over there. And then
Yeah.
Okay, so what we've done is we've taken your typical 3D kind of game, role-playing game, and we've made sure that the features that students like, such as multiplayer and levels and all those sorts of things are involved.
Right.
And we've added this dimension of learning.
Right.
It's an idea that people have been playing with for quite a long time. There are a lot of game-based learning software out there. So what we've tried to do is we've tried to add I've lost it.
That's okay. Do you want me to start again? Let me
Yeah,
start again.
yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes it's easier. Just don't even think that he's here. We'll just talk together like we're having a fireside chat.
Sure,
but I
yeah.
totally get where you're going. Let me start that one more time. And just want me to start it from the question, or do you want me to start it from the very beginning?
you can start from the question. What I'll do is I'll start on this image
Yep.
so that I can get a fresh cut.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Sounds good.
when you're ready.
Okay, Peter, so maybe you could walk us through a little bit on how this whole game interacts with other players and, maybe a little bit of the landscape here and why you've kind of chosen it to go this way, because obviously both of you have been from the teaching industry, and I know one of you is from the technical side of things as well, but I'm sure there's an aspect of this that most of us don't understand, so maybe you could walk us through it.
Sure. So I guess the first thing to know is that everything we've done here is based on a few very basic assumptions about learning,
Right.
About learning and technology. And so that the first one to know is that the learning process itself is very individual.
Yeah.
It's very subjective, and it's very, very diverse.
Right, and you mentioned before when we were talking that quite often, children with ADD issues as well tend to learn in this environment better than they do in a classroom.
Yeah, so in an environment like this, it's the sky's the limit. I mean, we can virtually or literally run, fly, go into different buildings. We can interact with each other. We can
Right.
chat with each other. We can customize things. And when it comes to the learning content, that ability all of a sudden becomes a really powerful tool for, say, a student who just, they need that sort of...
It's almost like a stimulus, really.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
that stimulus, exactly.
Yeah, and I see Mark over there in the corner. He's kind of running into your your game here. That's awesome. Maybe you could take us through to how to get to these different levels and then what happens from that point. Because
Sure.
I know that students who are looking at this would think, well, it's just, is it a regular game or is there actually something that I can win out of this? Of course,
Sure.
the winning part is learning, but maybe you could take us through a little bit of that.
Sure. Mark, I wonder if you would be better on this one, because then you
Right.
can,
Sure.
it's actually tied into that.
Excellent.
Where should we go? Should we go to the one of their pods?
Sure. So the first really engaging part of this is, of course, when you first enter the space, the world, you end up in your personal space.
Okay.
This is a highly customizable space. You can change out the furniture, you can add pictures on the wall, and then as time goes on, we will be able to add more and more features to that.
Super.
But the idea is this is your personal space. It is your starting point.
Right.
For the students, it's literally a matter of maybe you want to pick up the basketball and throw it in the net, or maybe you want to invite a friend to listen to some music.
Gotcha. Okay.
For a teacher, this can be their virtual classroom. This is where they would invite students to maybe collaborate on on an activity, or they maybe just want to share a YouTube video or some kind of media with their students. They can all gather here.
That's perfect.
And move from there. So this is the starting point.
Right. Now something that I'm intrigued with, and this is where I'm thinking, because you have everything in a virtual world, the student doesn't actually have to be in the classroom to take this beyond. I remember growing up myself, I use this as an example, but I always asked a friend to bring home my homework. So this can kind of go beyond that, things that they miss throughout the day. I guess the teachers can keep tabs on their students to find out if they're actually learning the material, if they're sick or need to be away, let's say on family vacations that have extended. Can the parents see any of this?
Yeah, so, well, essentially they can, but they see it from a different perspective.
Oh, good.
So the front end, what you see here is typically the experience for the student,
Right.
And the teacher to some degree. The game part is all about the student. Where the parent comes in is when we kind of look at what this world is sitting on top of. And it is a pretty complicated series of technology based on this idea of a learning management system. And so what the parent gets out of something like this is they kind of get secondhand reports coming in. So to kind of track the progress of the student, how much time they have spent in the world, which activities they were using, which ones were they having difficulty with, which ones were they challenged or excelled at, and that sort of thing. So the parents get kind of that secondhand reporting.
Right,
aspect.
right. So this is truly game-based learning because you're not allowing them really to progress to the next level unless they've done their homework, basically,
Exactly,
for lack of a better word. But
Yeah.
I could see how this could be really used, especially if a child is more into their games. This is actually a really good-looking game. This isn't your typical, what I've seen in the past. This is where I'm putting you, in a different level than the others. This doesn't look like that flat dimension game, which gets very boring very quickly.
Sure.
And this really takes you into a game that looks like something, right into your Xbox type game. I like it.
Well, we thought that if we didn't, have things as current as what the kids are doing right now,
Right.
they wouldn't be interested.
Oh, absolutely.
And if we tried to go back to Super Mario Brothers type things, it's not going to interest the kids these days.
Right. Now, is that why you're doing some things with Sheridan College to take it to that really high-end level?
Yes. So what this is working from is a gaming engine. So the back end, the software program that puts all this together,
Right.
it's actually a combination of things. But the gaming engine is something that Sheridan uses inside of their game and level design programs.
Right.
And so it was a really good opportunity for us to kind of leverage that technology and the services of the students.
Right.
And I mean, they really know what they're doing.
Well, there's nothing better than having a student do this type of stuff
Yeah, exactly.
because if they know what they like.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and
Exactly.
you may be able to throw those type of questions at them, and they may come up with a new concept you never even thought of.
Yeah.
Yet you can handle still once again all the ideas, from a teacher's perspective, because you were a teacher, for
Yeah,
a long time.
Both of us, both of
Right.
us. I was in, well, I guess we're still teachers.
Yeah,
We just
yeah,
moved-
never stop.
Yeah, that's right. We just have avatars to go with
Yeah,
it.
that's right. Yeah.
But where Sheridan comes in is exactly where the actual interactivities happen for the kids, because we'll be able to give Sheridan these ideas, and their students will just go with them.
Yeah.
And then they'll be able to create different levels and things that we can then plop into the world
Yeah.
and have
Perfect.
the kids use.
Perfect.
So the next level of this is now we enter the teachers into the equation.
Okay.
And the teachers are all of a sudden this immense resource for high quality content.
Right.
These teachers are in the classrooms every day. They know what works, what doesn't work. And so what we're trying to do is get them in this world, creating the content, and we've got a process that will allow us to take that content, hand it off to the students.
Right.
And the students will then be able to create something visually engaging and game-based, so the students will enjoy it, but also with understanding that it is now solid quality curriculum-based content
Right.
That's running behind it. So we're not trying to trick the kids. That's the thing. We're not trying to say, oh, look at this pretty picture.
Right. Right.
Oh yeah, and you've got to learn.
Right.
We're actually making this as authentic, engaging, and exciting for everybody involved as we possibly can. And we really think that we've come a long way
Yeah, I can see that you have. What intrigues me, I guess, the most about this is it is specific to the classroom. Every teacher has their own way of teaching, but it's not just something across the board. Most of the game-based type products that I've seen in the past had a curriculum written in stone. That wasn't a variable, and that makes it awfully difficult because then you're stuck with the conceptual drawing of it. You're not allowing that teacher to really express what they teach in their classroom. And everybody has a different learning curve. I mean, I know what I was like in class, and I'm sure it was very different from the same teacher teaching next year in a different class. I'm like, everybody's dynamics change. So this is probably a way of them expressing that. Can they data mine that information? Like as they start building it, the more and more teachers that start using this product, is this a way of them starting to be able to feed from maybe other concepts that other teachers have in the same grade?
Yeah. So we call it the repository. This place in our thematic world, it's called STEM Lab.
Oh, okay.
And it will be categorized. Yeah, this is STEM Lab.
Right.
So it's categorized based on, often based on subject, because it's simplest. I mean, this level will be, say, geometric exploration.
Yes.
So you know, going into that level, we're talking about geometry.
Okay.
But once you enter that level, it's very, I mean, diverse as far as what you can find. But it could be, say, a 3D Cartesian plane.
Right.
So a student flies up and they start putting points on a Cartesian plane, and they start answering questions, maybe getting some feedback.
Sure.
That whole mission that they've just done has been created by a teacher. And as a student, I can go and access it. As a teacher from anywhere in the world, I can go and access that same piece of content.
Perfect.
So if it works, then I can use it. If it doesn't, then I as a teacher have that ability to say, why don't we try this? Can we add this? And
Even
then we
better.
go through the process, and next thing you know, we've got another mission on a Cartesian plane platform.
That's fantastic.
You sort of touched on this earlier, Robert. One thing about being in a virtual space like this is that it can literally be accessed from anywhere in the world. If you have access to the internet, you can access it. So when we're talking about curriculum things, Peter and I, we're oftentimes teachers focus very much on the curriculum. I mean, here we have an Ontario curriculum.
Yes.
And Alberta has its own curriculum, BC has its own curriculum. In fact, every one of the states has an individual curriculum.
Mine, that's hard to keep control of.
It is, but also, I mean, it's pretty much, standard, especially in North America.
Sure.
I mean, in grade 1 at age 6, most kids are doing pretty much the same thing, whether in California or Nova Scotia.
I see.
Right? So we've had to sort of generalize things, because if we sort of say this is Ontario curriculum based only, we're going to sort of alienate a whole bunch of people, and we don't need to.
Yeah.
Right, you pigeonhole yourself,
Yeah.
essentially,
Yeah.
which you don't want to do.
Right. But on top of that, giving the teachers that ability to create the content themselves, that content can be based on whatever curriculum they decide. And that's really what we're trying to get at here, is this is their space. We call it our learning sandbox. We're taking all this diversity that we've been talking about,
Right.
and all the technology, and we're putting it into one place for everybody to use simultaneously, however they need.